Hello, friends. Welcome and happy Father's Day to each and every father out there. I am knowing for you a day that is filled with the delight that you share in the world with children. And as you father many people, not just children, in your life. And so today we continue with our 5-week series that began with the title, To Learn How to Think is to Learn How to Live. And so today we're going to be talking about the idea of what it does. First we talked about God being all that is, and then we talked about how it works. And now we're talking about what it does, what God does.
Ernest Holmes says trained thought is far more powerful than untrained, and the one who gives conscious power to his thought should be more careful what he thinks than the one who does not. The more power one gives to his thought, the more completely he believes that his thought has power, the more power it will have. This is played out in the way the brain works, literally how the brain works. As soon as you think a new thought, you become changed neurologically, chemically, and genetically. When new memories are formed, the number of sensory neurons that are stimulated in the brain doubles. However, if the new function is not repeated over and over, the number of new connections falls back to its original state. This is important to It's important to continually update, review, and remember new thoughts, choices, behaviors, habits, beliefs, and experiences if you want them to solidify in our brains. When we continue to use the same neural pathways over and over, we create a neural network. A neural network forms together to form neurocircuitry. As this new neurocircuitry begins to be used habitually, the brain actually begins to change physically. The reinforced circuits between neurons become more glued together, additional circuits are formed, and the branches between physically thicken. Joe Dispenza says that one of the most basic principles in neuroscience states, nerve cells that fire together wire together. As your brain fires repeatedly in the same manner, you're reproducing the same level of mind. Thus, we can say that if you're reminding yourself of who you think you are on a daily basis, by reproducing the same mind, you're making your brain fire in the same ways, and you'll activate the same neural networks for years on end. By the time you reach your mid-30s, your brain has organized itself into a very finite signature of automatic programs. And that fixed pattern is called your identity, end quote. When you make your brain work differently, however, you're literally changing your mind and your brain, neurologically, chemically, genetically, and physically. Neurological researchers refer to this change as neuroplasticity. It follows the concept that the mind can be molded and conditioned to respond according to our desires. Dr. Dispenza has coined a new term he calls self-directed neuroplasticity to describe how we can direct the formation of new neural pathways and destruction of old ones that no longer serve us productively through the quality of the experiences we cultivate through our ongoing thought patterns. In Science of Mind, we have the saying that a thought held in mind produces after its kind. For it to become habitual, for it to become a good habit, automatic, it must be consistent enough to form solid neural pathways. When that is accomplished, we live the life we've imagined without effort. This is thought having a direct influence on our physical nature, and that is how it works in us and as us, and what it does through our thinking.
Great. So what David's talking about is how we work, how it works through us, through our own brain, physically and emotionally and mentally. And so let's take a deeper dive into what it does as a universal substance we call God, including us. And I have one word for what it does. What it does, what God does, is give. God is the storehouse in the sky that is eternal givingness. And so what David's talking about how the brain works, is about taking our own personal ideas and implementing them in a manner that achieves the success that we desire in life. So for example, if it gives, God gives and has already given all that is to us, we must be a willing receiver. And so if I stand at a water fountain and do nothing, I continue to thirst. I must actually think about and take the action for turning the water on and bending down to take a drink of it. And likewise, if I enter a dark room and I stand beside the light switch, I am still standing in the dark. I have to reach up and turn on the light. We have to be a receiver for the good which we desire. I must drink of the water. I must reach up and turn on the switch if I desire to have light. I can live in a universal peace and continue to experience destruction. So I've given you physical examples in our world. Now I'm giving you a less concrete, but a more feeling idea for peace, because I'm willing to bet that all of us desire to experience peace in our life, in our relationships, in the situations in which we engage. And so I can continue to experience destruction as I simply allow things to be as they are. What must change is my idea. I must construct an idea of peace within myself, and I must feel it. I must feel it deeply. I must claim it. I must accept and receive it. For God is peace, so God can only be the creator and giver of peace. As God provides and gives me peace, I must receive it. And the way to receive it is to claim it through our own thinking, through our own mind. One of my favorite we believe statements in Science of Mind is we believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. That's saying that God has already given all that there is to give to us. Love is divine givingness. God is divine givingness. Law is the way. So last week we looked a little more intently at law, and today we're going to look a little deeper at what it does through the operation of love and law. Ernest Holmes writes that we look too far away for reality. God contains two fundamental characteristics, both love and law. Love is personal to the degree that you make it your own, and law is the process through which love creates a union with law and creates the demonstration. I don't remember if this is the saying that you said or not. The love points the way and law makes the way possible. I don't think so. You said a thought held in mind produces after its kind. Yeah, that's right. So the idea that love points the way, when we absorb within ourselves a concrete idea of what love is. And I say concrete, and yet it's ever flowing, it's ever fluid, this energy of life, of love. And so we take that love that points us in the right direction, and we impress our own thought into the law, and the law takes action. The law, being impersonal and immutable, has no voice. It has no say. It has to say yes to whatever we place into it through our own thinking, our own personal consciousness. And so we are surrounded by and immersed in infinite possibilities. And we are free to choose from those possibilities. Once we make a choice from the bountiful storehouse of the loving givingness that God is, our word, our thought, is placed into law that operates upon that word to produce, to demonstrate, to bring to form for you, for me, in you, and in me. Ernest Holmes wrote, "Words are molds into which the creative substance of your consciousness flows." And so we use our words very carefully, especially those that we really want to create in our life, that we want to experience in our life. We fill our words with feeling, deep feeling, heartfelt feeling, meaningfulness, and we make them bold. And as you believe them and willingly receive them, it is given unto you. Anything more to add to that idea?
Yes, I'm going to tie the two ideas together with the brain and how it works, and this idea of self-givingness and receiving. We actually condition ourselves to be able to receive all the good of the universe by creating thought patterns that allow that energy to flow into our habitual lifestyle. And so it becomes a natural thing for us to expect that to happen. So we become automatically receptive. It's not something we have to work at. It's something that becomes automatic for us because we have created neural pathways and networks that are open to that possibility. And so therefore we expect those things to happen in our lives.
So what it does, it gives. Are your hands out? Is your heart open? Are you ready to receive?